For eons, the Galactic Accord stood as the pinnacle of interstellar unity, a treaty forged through painstaking diplomacy among dozens of advanced civilizations. The Great Hall of Accord, a massive crystalline structure suspended in the vacuum of neutral space, gleamed with light refracted from distant stars. Inside, representatives of these species sat in a semicircle, their distinct forms reflecting the diversity of the galaxy. Floating cephalopods, towering insectoids, and shimmering energy beings, all converged under a shared mission: peace above all else. The narrator, a Zervian diplomat named Viron, observed the assembly with pride. For 3 millennia, this accord had ensured prosperity. Wars were stories of the past, spoken of in hushed tones by elders. "We are the stewards of peace," Viron thought, their bioluminescent tendrils shifting in contentment. Yet, beneath the surface of their calm, a faint unease lingered. In every age of peace, there lurked the seeds of chaos. The assembly stirred as a recording from a remote outpost was projected. The grainy footage revealed a human mining ship drilling into a barren moon. A nearby alien observatory had been destroyed in the process, its fragile infrastructure shattered. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Murmurs turned into an uproar. "They've desecrated our research site," hissed a serpentine diplomat, her scales bristling with indignation. "Typical human recklessness," rumbled an 8-limbed Garathian, his mandibles clicking angrily. "They've always been unpredictable, unfit for the Accord." Viron reviewed the evidence with a heavy heart. The humans had been relative newcomers to the galactic stage, joining the Accord a mere century ago. Many species had opposed their inclusion, citing their violent history and erratic behavior. Yet humans had proven adaptive, curious, and, above all, resilient. "They wouldn't have done this deliberately," Viron interjected. But their voice was drowned out by the rising tide of outrage. A Zilorian archivist presented additional findings. The human mining vessel had ignored multiple warnings. To the council, this confirmed their guilt. Viron, however, noticed something odd in the humans' response, or lack thereof. Instead of panic or outrage, their communications showed a strange calm, even amusement. One report included a snippet of human chatter. "Well, there goes the neighborhood." "Arrogance," spat the Garathian. "They mock us even now." Despite Viron's attempts to mediate, the council's verdict was swift. The humans were declared in violation of the peace treaty. A war vote was called, and one by one, species raised their sigils in agreement. Unanimity, a rare and dangerous consensus. As the final sigil was raised, the Accord's High Chancellor spoke with solemn gravity. "The peace that bound us for 3,000 years has been broken. War shall commence." The chamber echoed with approving roars, hisses, and clicks. The decision ignited a frenzy of mobilization. Warships, long dormant, were powered up. Massive fleets began assembling across the galaxy, each species eager to prove its might. Humans, the so-called primitives, were seen as little more than a nuisance to be eradicated. Viron remained in the council chamber long after the others had departed. Their tendrils dimmed as they stared at the empty space where the peace sigil had once hovered. For all their species' wisdom, for all their shared history, Viron couldn't shake the feeling that they had underestimated humanity. The declaration of war spread across Earth and its far-flung colonies like wildfire. News anchors delivered the unprecedented announcement with varying tones of urgency, but the general public's response was anything but uniform. Social media erupted, not with fear, but with memes and jokes. "First contact, and it's a declaration of war. Classic humans," read one viral post, complete with a crude doodle of an alien being pummeled by a rolled-up newspaper. Late-night comedians latched onto the absurdity, crafting punchlines about humanity's knack for annoying even the most peaceful civilizations. In bustling cities and remote space stations alike, the mood was remarkably steady. Some were confused, others bemused, but very few seemed genuinely panicked. "Aliens? Declaring war? Do they not know we've been fighting each other for millennia?" quipped a mechanic in a crowded bar. The laughter was loud and unanimous. For centuries, humanity had thrived on conflict, adapting and evolving under pressure. To the average person, this was just another challenge, albeit with a different flavor. A baker in London shrugged while preparing dough. They picked a fight with the species that invented nuclear weapons before color TV, she said, half laughing. Across the board, a quiet confidence simmered under the surface, a collective, unspoken belief that humanity would endure, as it always had. Far from the public eye, human leaders convened in an underground bunker deep beneath the Martian surface. The room buzzed with calm efficiency as holographic displays illuminated the faces of military commanders, scientists, and political representatives. They were fully aware of the scope of the threat. The alien armada was vast, its technology formidable. Yet, instead of panic, the focus was on solutions. A general began his briefing, laying out the intelligence reports. We estimate their fleet will reach our borders in 8 standard weeks. They've mobilized in full force, underestimating our capabilities. A scientist interjected, smirking. Let's keep it that way. The room chuckled. Beneath the humor lay an unshakable resolve. Plans unfolded rapidly. Defense satellites were recalibrated to detect alien signatures. Engineers worked around the clock, retrofitting ships with experimental weapons systems. Civilians volunteered en masse for training, even as supplies were rerouted to strategic locations. Despite the flurry of activity, the atmosphere was strikingly optimistic. At one point, a senior official spoke cryptically. We've faced extinction-level events before, and we've always pulled through. Trust me when I say we have contingencies the aliens can't even begin to imagine. The room nodded, their faces a mix of determination and intrigue. Whatever humanity's trump card was, it remained a closely guarded secret. On the fringes of human territory, alien spies observed these developments with growing confusion. From their perspective, humans seemed almost absurdly unconcerned. Surveillance footage showed people gathering for festivals, weddings, and sports events. On Mars, a stadium packed with fans cheered a zero-gravity football match. On Earth, millions tuned into a live-streamed comedy special mocking the impending invasion. To the aliens, this behavior bordered on lunacy. They laugh in the face of annihilation, remarked one Zilorian operative. The observation was relayed back to the Council, where it was interpreted as hubris. The Council's military strategists grew increasingly incensed. This arrogance will be their undoing, declared a Garathian general, slamming a clawed appendage onto the table. Intercepted human transmissions only deepened the aliens' bewilderment. Messages between Earth's colonies carried an undercurrent of sarcasm and wit, with no sign of desperation. One intercepted memo read, **. If they're expecting us to panic, they've clearly never been through a Black Friday sale. **. The cultural reference was lost on the aliens, but the tone was unmistakable. The Council misread these signs entirely, doubling down on their plans. Their fleets accelerated toward human space, determined to crush this maddeningly carefree species. Yet the seeds of doubt had been planted. A few alien observers began to wonder if there was more to humanity's calm than ignorance. The alien armada moved like a tide of inevitability, its sheer scale a testament to the combined might of the Galactic Accord. Thousands of warships, gleaming with alien alloys and bristling with weaponry, surged through hyperspace lanes, their movements perfectly synchronized. The lead vessel, a city-sized dreadnought, boasted shields capable of withstanding supernovae and weapons that could disintegrate moons. In the command chamber, alien commanders reviewed projections with smug satisfaction. Victory, they believed, was inevitable. This will be over in hours, the Garathian fleet admiral declared, his mandibles clicking in delight. Human resistance will crumble before us. As the fleet crossed into human territory, sensors detected minimal defenses, only a scattering of ships, unremarkable in design and seemingly devoid of advanced weaponry. The commanders scoffed. Primitive, one Zilorian strategist remarked. They didn't even attempt to camouflage their fleet. With confidence bordering on contempt, the armada surged forward, eager to deliver a swift and decisive blow. When the battle began, the humans' response was almost laughably underwhelming. Their ships, dwarfed by the alien vessels, fired sporadic bursts of energy that barely registered against the alien shields. Alien commanders watched the skirmish unfold with detached amusement. "Is this truly the best they can muster?" asked the Serpentine captain, her voice laced with disdain. Human ships began retreating almost immediately, falling back in disorganized patterns. It looked like chaos to the alien commanders, who eagerly pursued. "Press the advantage!" barked the Garathian admiral. The alien fleet surged forward, tightening its formation to deliver a killing blow. Yet, as the pursuit continued, subtle anomalies began to emerge. Alien targeting systems faltered inexplicably, with weapons locking onto decoys instead of real targets. Human ships seemed to maneuver with uncanny precision, exploiting gaps in the alien formation. In one sector, a small human frigate baited 3 alien cruisers into a nebula, where they promptly lost sensor capability and collided. "They're scattering like prey, yet their movements seem deliberate," a Zilorian officer observed, his tone uneasy. His superior dismissed him with a wave of an appendage. "They're desperate. This is nothing more than the flailing of a cornered beast." As the battle raged, the alien fleet closed in on what appeared to be the core of the human defense, a cluster of outdated orbital platforms surrounding an unremarkable moon. The Garathian admiral ordered an all-out assault, determined to crush the final remnants of resistance. The alien ships moved into position, their weapons primed for a devastating volley. That's when everything changed. Without warning, the orbital platforms activated, revealing hidden arrays of advanced weaponry. Beams of energy surged outward, slicing through alien ships with surgical precision. At the same time, gravity wells began to form across the battlefield, pulling alien vessels into chaotic trajectories. Alien shields, designed to withstand brute force, proved useless against the gravitational distortions. Ships collided, spiraling out of control as their formations disintegrated. In the midst of the chaos, human AI systems came online, hijacking alien communication channels. Commands were scrambled, turning the fleet's precision into confusion. Alien ships fired on one another, mistaking friend for foe. To the human commanders, it was a symphony of calculated disruption. The Garathian admiral roared in frustration. How are they doing this?" His officers had no answers. The humans, once dismissed as tactically inept, were systematically dismantling the most powerful armada the galaxy had ever assembled. As the battle tipped further in humanity's favor, an alien captain aboard a surviving cruiser watched in growing disbelief. Every assumption about humanity, its supposed primitiveness, its lack of discipline, was crumbling. "This isn't luck," he murmured. "They've planned this." For the first time, the Council's fleet realized they were outmatched not by superior numbers or firepower but by sheer ingenuity. The humans had not only anticipated their strategies but had manipulated them from the start. The retreat, the decoys, the seemingly outdated defenses, it had all been an elaborate ruse. By the end of the engagement, the once mighty armada was in shambles. Wreckage floated in orbit around the unremarkable moon, now revealed to be a strategic trap. Surviving alien ships limped away, their commanders shaken to the core. For the first time in millennia, the invincible forces of the Galactic Accord had tasted defeat. On the bridge of his damaged cruiser, the alien captain stared at the tactical displays, which now showed an almost mocking calm. A single transmission from the humans played across the screen, asterisk. "Welcome to the neighborhood. Hope you enjoyed your stay." Asterisk. The captain slumped back in his chair, a creeping realization dawning. Perhaps humanity wasn't primitive. Perhaps they had simply allowed the galaxy to believe that. The remnants of the alien fleet limped away from the battlefield, their formations broken and pride in tatters. Among the survivors, an eerie silence filled the command chambers. The Garathian admiral, whose earlier confidence had been unshakable, now stared blankly at the holographic display of losses. Over half of the fleet was destroyed, the remainder barely operational. "Order the retreat," the admiral growled, his voice trembling with suppressed rage. His officers hesitated, but the command was clear. The once mighty armada vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind the debris of their defeat. Back at the Galactic Accord's council chamber, the mood was no less grim. For the first time in millennia, their unity had resulted in failure. Representatives gathered, their forms dimmed with shame and confusion. "How could this happen?" demanded the Zilorian archivist, her translucent form quivering. "Their technology was primitive. Their fleet was laughable. They deceived us," the serpentine diplomat hissed. "Every move they made was calculated. We walked into their trap like blind hatchlings." The Garathian admiral, now summoned to account for the disaster, slammed his claws onto the table. "They are not what we believed. Humanity is far more dangerous than we imagined. If we continue this war, it could mean the end of us all." Silence fell over the chamber as doubt crept into even the staunchest proponents of war. Their deliberations were interrupted by the arrival of an encrypted message from humanity. The room tensed as the message played, the humans' chosen representatives speaking in a tone that was equal parts mocking and jovial. "To the esteemed Galactic Accord," a human voice began, the translation software rendering the words flawlessly. "We noticed you left some of your toys behind. Shall we send them back to you? Or perhaps you'd like a demonstration of how we've repurposed them?" Laughter echoed faintly in the background of the recording, a sound that sent chills through the council. The message continued. "Now we understand you're upset. But let's get one thing straight, we didn't start this fight. However, we have no problem finishing it. For your benefit, we recommend reconsidering your assumptions about us. We're not just survivors. We're adapters, innovators, and, when provoked, the worst nightmare you could conjure. But don't take our word for it. You've seen a glimpse of what we're capable of." The message ended with a simple phrase, asterisk. "Choose your next move wisely." Asterisk. The council erupted into chaotic debate. Some saw the message as a taunt, others as a warning. But all agreed on one thing: the humans were far from the primitive species they had believed them to be. Seeking answers, the council delved into humanity's records, pulling fragments of Earth's history from intercepted transmissions and archives. What they found only deepened their unease. They learned of humanity's ancient past, a tapestry woven with unrelenting struggle. Earth had been a crucible of conflict, wars, plagues, natural disasters, and near-extinction events. Each catastrophe had forged humanity anew, driving them to innovate, adapt, and overcome. From the chaos of tribal skirmishes to the devastation of world wars, humanity had not just survived but thrived. The records highlighted their capacity for unity under pressure, their ingenuity in the face of destruction, and their resilience against impossible odds. Time and again, when extinction loomed, humanity had clawed its way back, stronger than before. The aliens marveled at humanity's duality, their ability to wage war with unparalleled ferocity, yet also create art, music, and humor that transcended their hardships. A Zilorian historian, reviewing humanity's ancient conflicts, remarked, "They've spent millennia fighting themselves. We thought this was a weakness. It is their greatest strength." One record, in particular, struck a nerve within the council. It was an old human transmission, a historical speech given during one of Earth's darkest hours. The words echoed in the chamber, asterisk. "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall never surrender." Asterisk. The alien council, so accustomed to millennia of harmony, now grasped the terrifying truth about humanity. They were not a species to be underestimated. They were survivors, forged by a history of unyielding challenges. To engage them further was not just risky, it was suicidal. The alien armada regrouped for what they believed would be a final confrontation. Though shaken by their losses, the Council's war faction convinced themselves that a concentrated strike could still overwhelm humanity. This time, they resolved to take no chances, deploying their most advanced fleets and experimental weapons. As the fleets entered human territory, an eerie stillness greeted them. No human ships were visible. Sensors picked up nothing, no defenses, no traps, not even decoys. The alien commanders, now cautious after their humiliating defeat, ordered a slow advance. Then, without warning, their ships powered down. Engines sputtered to a halt, shields deactivated, and weapons systems became inert. Panic spread across the alien fleets as attempts to restore functionality failed. One by one, the massive vessels drifted into stillness, stranded in space. A holographic broadcast appeared on every alien bridge simultaneously, displaying a human figure sitting casually in a chair. The representatives smiled, a glint of mischief in their eyes. "Oh no, did we forget to warn you about the EMP nets?" "Our bad," they said with exaggerated innocence, earning scattered chuckles from unseen colleagues off-screen. The aliens could only watch in stunned silence as the human continued, their tone light but pointed. "We could have destroyed your fleets, but where's the fun in that? Besides, we're not fans of unnecessary messes. This little demonstration was just to remind you, we don't need to fight to win." Behind the human, a screen displayed various alien leaders reacting to their immobilized fleets. The humans burst into laughter at one particularly exaggerated expression, and the broadcast ended with the words, "Thanks for playing," emblazoned across the screen. Moments later, the alien fleets were restored to operational status, but the message had been delivered loud and clear. Humanity could disable their forces at will and had chosen to spare them. The Alien Council reconvened almost immediately. The Zilorian historian, who had previously analyzed humanity's history, was the first to speak. "We underestimated them once. Let us not make that mistake again." At the Council's behest, a human representative joined the session via hologram. Standing amidst the gathered alien dignitaries, they exuded a disarming mix of confidence and warmth. "You wanted to understand humanity," they began. "So let me explain." Their tone grew serious, though it retained its characteristic levity. "We didn't ask for this war, but we weren't surprised by it either. See, conflict is something we know intimately. We've fought each other for thousands of years, over land, resources, ideologies, you name it. And in doing so, we've learned one invaluable truth: war doesn't build. It destroys." The representative paused, scanning the room as if addressing each alien personally. "We've mastered the art of war, but that's not what defines us. What makes us who we are is our ability to adapt, to laugh even in the face of annihilation, and to find solutions that others might not consider. Humor, resilience, and creativity, they've kept us alive." Some of the aliens shifted uncomfortably, unused to such candid introspection. But others leaned forward, captivated by the honesty. "We didn't defeat you with superior firepower," the human continued. "We defeated you because we understand chaos. We thrive in it. And we choose not to perpetuate it because, frankly, we've seen enough destruction to last a dozen lifetimes." The council fell silent, their collective ego bruised but their respect for humanity undeniable. The human representative smiled again, this time without a hint of mockery. "So, what's it going to be? Another round of war you can't win? Or shall we work together to make something worth preserving?" The vote was unanimous. The Galactic Accord would be restored, this time with humanity as a permanent and influential member. The terms of the treaty were adjusted to reflect the lessons learned. Conflict would be avoided through diplomacy, mutual understanding, and, as one human suggested with a wink, mandatory team-building exercises. In the days that followed, the council chambers transformed. Human diplomats, scientists, and even comedians joined the ranks, their unique perspectives reshaping interstellar relations. Cultural exchanges became common, with aliens learning about humanity's art, music, and most bafflingly, their jokes. One Zilorian ambassador was overheard attempting to explain the concept of irony to a Garathian, much to everyone's amusement. The alien narrator, who had initially viewed humanity with disdain, now found themselves reflecting deeply. "We thought their laughter was arrogance," they admitted. "But now I see it for what it is, strength. The kind that doesn't need to dominate to endure." As the council adjourned one final time, the narrator gazed out over the representatives. Among them stood humans, their faces lit with the same irreverent humor that had once seemed so alien. The narrator smiled, their perspective forever changed. Humanity, they realized, was not a threat to be eliminated but an ally to be cherished, A species whose brilliance lay not in their ability to destroy but in their choice to build, to laugh, and to survive against all odds.